career, you feel that you have to listen. And when you buck, they buck harder.
Two of the biggest names in music, still Mariah cares. Career, that's the question we're diving into today. And trust you, it's messier than you think picture. This Mariah Carey, the reigning queen of the 90s, she wasn't just another pop star, she was a pop star. She wrote her own songs, produced her own records, and shattered charts like no one else. Maria was just a singer, she was a cultural phenomenon, a template for what a superstar could be.
So basically, my whole thing is I'm a people pleaser. I try to be nice because no matter what, if you're a female, you're successful, you're a bitch, they call you a bitch. And it used to really bother me what people said about me. Now I could care less.
But then, as the new millennium dawned, everything changed. The glitter era, which was supposed to cement her as an untouchable icon, suddenly became her downfall, and in the shadows saw her decline. Two rising stars emerged, Jennifer Lopez and Beyoncé. Was it just bad timing, or was Mariah pushed out toweth the infamous Loverboy scandal? This wasn't just a simple case of bad luck, this was straight-up sabotage, if you believe the whispers back in the early 2000s. Mariah was working on her glitter soundtrack and had secured a sample from Yellow Magic Orchestra's 1978 track Firecracker for her song Lover. Boy, it was fresh, it was unique, and it was going to be the centerpiece off her comeback, but then out of nowhere, exact same sample turned up on Jennifer Lopez's song, I'm Real Coincidence, Not If You Ask Mariah. She was furious and she had every right to...
You know what I mean? But I was put in a position where people looked at me like this princess and probably a really mean, evil person that you had to walk on eggshells around, because that's what the people around me who worked for him, they didn't work for me, really. I mean, I paid half of them, but I think he paid half of them, too. The thing is that the image that they put out there was, don't even look at her, don't talk to her, this and that.
After all, how does a sample you've locked down for months suddenly show upon another artist's album before? Your own Mariah didn't hold back when she addressed it. She blamed her ex-husband Tommy Madola, the powerful music executive who had been running Sony Music in her life during their tumultuous marriage. According to Mariah, Tommy was determined to punish her for leaving him and leaving the label, in her words, much of what went wrong with glitter led. Back to Tommy, he used all his power and connections.
I don't think anybody was more surprised than us.
Yeah. No, but it is. No, seriously though. I mean, that's just, would you ever have imagined that it comes full circle, it ends up like this?
No, you never could imagine something like that could happen.
I'm happy.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. I'm happy for you. I'm happy.
To punish May, he wasn't going to let me or glitter shine. And if you think that's dramatic insider, this Veshti, the producer behind Riel, admitted in an interview years later that Tommy himself had the whole thing. He said Tommy called him up and told him to give the sample to JLo to sabotage Mariah. Thoughts, not speculation, that straight makes it worse. Is that? Il knew she wasn't some innocent bystander caught in the crossfire. She played along. And while Mariah was scrambling to rework her song with a new sample, JLo was writing higher leasing hit after hit. It's no wonder Mariah couldn't even bring herself to acknowledge JLo publicly when asked about her. Mariah famously said, I don't know her. Those 4 words, Becca Milligendary. Cultural moment that perfectly encapsulated the shade and tension between...
I know so much on how you got where you are. How you stepped on a many people.
Between these two women, but the truth is, Mariah knew exactly who JLo wasn't, exactly what role she had played, and couldn't get any messier. Enter Beyonce. Back in the day, Beyoncé was one of Mariah's biggest fans. She gushed about her in interviews, calling her an inspiration and crediting Vision of Lovius, the song that made her want to sing. Beyoncé even said that Mariah's ability to pack
Because I'm a very free-spirited person, and I had to become a very independent person very early on in life. So when you take somebody and you stifle them like that, it's not going to work forever either. Like, I would have completely lost myself.
Something had to give.
Something had to give.
So many notes into a single bar was what inspired her own vocal runs, but somewhere along the way, that admiration turned into competition as Beyoncé starros. Mariah seemed to dim. Fans started noticing that Beyoncé no longer spoke about Mariah with the same Reverence the shout-out stopped the fangirling faded and people began to wonder was Beyoncé distancing herself intentionally nowheres where it gets really juicy theories. A theory that Beyoncé's husband Jez and Mariah's ex Tommy Motomahoff conspired to systematically alent Mariah's career. Sounds farched, right? But think about it. Jay-Z was building his empire Rock Nation, and Beyoncé was transitioning from girl group, start a solo icon. They were positioning her as the new queen of music and UHF. Mariah, with her diva reputation and turbulent personal life, didn't fit into that narrative. There are even whispers of a so-called sabotage summit, where the power players of the industry allegedly decided that Mariah's time was up. And if you look at how things played out, it's hard not to take.
Here, we promise you this is not an April Fool's joke, what you're about to hear. It is an actual lawsuit filed by an attorney in federal court about...
Beyoncé's rise, for example, she didn't just dominate music, she dominated everything. While Mariah was painted as unstable and difficult, Beyoncé was being hailed as a visionary, a cultural icon who could do no wrong. And let's not forget the media's role in this. They love to pit women against each other, especially women of color. Mariah wasn't just competing with JLo and Beyoncé, she was fighting an entire industry that decided her time was over second, because her rise is just as suspicious. She wasn't a singer, she was a dancer, an actress, someone who could sell an image but couldn't hit a note to Savahar life, yet somehow she became a global superstar. How? By using vocals that weren't hers. That's right. JLo's early hits were built on the backs of other artists. Ashanti, for one, has been very open about how her voice was used on JLo's tracks without proper credit. Songs like I'm Real and Ain't It Funny still have Ashanti's background vocals because JLo couldn't deliver the performance Hurst. And it wasn't just a Shantathers. A long list of artists, particularly black women, whose work JLo provided. From without acknowledgement, Terry saw all of this happening in real time, and she called it out. She didn't mince words when she said, if I had the luxury of not having to sing my own songs, darling, I'd do that too. That's classic Mariah Sharp, witty and unbothered. But beneath the shade was real frustration. She wasn't just fighting for herself, as she was fighting against an industry.
10 years ago, they say this was a party for Diddy's son, King Combs, but all the names involved here are huge. Huge. Talking Beyoncé, Jay-Z, LeBron James. Now, all of those people are just witnesses, according to this law.
That seemed determined to erase her contributions and replace her with less talented but more marketable stars. What's even more frustrating is how history has treated Mariah. Despite her record-breaking achievements and undeniable talent, she is often reduced to a caricature, oft over-the-top diva who shows up every December to sing All I Want for Christmas Is You. Meanwhile, Beyoncé is remembered as a game-changer, a pioneer Samayon who redefined what it means to be a pop star. And JLo, she's still other headlining Super Bowls and selling skincare products despite decades of about stolen vocals and shady industry deals. We're all just living in the moment of being positive, and there's like people called haters. No, Cindy, and we give them positivity as where does this leave? Mariah, word on the street is that she's finality to tell her side of the story, whether it's in a documentary, a memoir, a no-holds-barred interview. Mariah hiss, reportedly gearing up to spill all the tea. The sabotage, the betrayals, the stolen songs, everything, and honestly, we're here for it, because if there's one thing Mariah Carey deserves, it's respect. She paved the way for so many artists, and it's about time she gets the credit she's owed. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. For now, all we can do is wait and wonder what really happened behind the scenes. Was it just a series of unfortunate events, or was there a calculated effort to push?
Clearly, my life has been written about by a lot of people, and not all those people are, some of them aren't necessarily as passionate about their jobs as others. So some people can tend to ride with a story, and it's easier for them to look at the last 3 stories written, pick apart what other people say, go on hearsay, or even